Aaron Rodgers has been traded to the Jets. The NFL Draft begins tomorrow. The APFL Draft begins on Monday. And we have a laydown of the initial copy of the rules for the 2023 Fanatically Real Redraft League. All of this and more in 20 seconds. Hey, fellow fanatics, welcome to the Fanatically Real broadcast, sponsored by Nature Coast Tailgating and Apparel, the official apparel of FSA. How is all zero of you tonight? Hopefully a couple of you will come on before we get done with the show tonight. I know we're kind of off schedule tonight because we've been doing this on Thursday nights for the last couple of weeks, but we're back on Wednesday night. Should be able to do Wednesday nights probably from now leading all the way into the season and through the season. We'll definitely have to keep you informed on that as we go along, but at least for the next couple of weeks, we will be back on our normal, regularly scheduled night of Wednesday. So, as you can tell by the get up and from the number one intro of the show tonight, after going back and forth for a while, probably not back and forth, it was the surface was scratched and then nobody wanted to make a commitment to it or whatever. But it was announced earlier this week. No big surprise because you all heard the news that Aaron Rodgers was traded to the Jets. So what are the details of it? So the Jets will receive Rodgers, of course, the number 15 overall pick and a 5th round pick in 2023. The Packers get the number 13 overall pick, a 2nd round pick, and a 6th round pick this year. And then they have a conditional 2nd round pick that becomes a 1st round pick if he plays at least 65% of the games in the upcoming season. And I don't see how that's not going to happen considering the Jets don't have anybody else on their roster worth starting. So barring any injuries, I would say that 2nd round conditional pick becomes a 1st round pick for the Packers. So that was the big news coming out this week. Of course, the bigger news that's coming out tomorrow, the NFL Draft tomorrow. It's my second favorite holiday of the year, right after Thanksgiving football on Thursday. NFL Draft takes place tomorrow. It'll go Thursday through Saturday, which is 27 through 29 April. They're going to be in downtown Kansas City. Thursday night's draft is going to start at 8 p.m. Pretty much can be watched on any network that you can find sports on tomorrow night. I will get a chance to catch it as I will be picking up FSA Hall of Fame member Jason Hazlett from the Atlanta airport. So we will be watching that as we are driving back here to this side of the state to see to Augusta. So Thursday night, 8 p.m. And then Friday, that will be just round one on Thursday night. And then on Friday night, it will start at 7 p.m. It will do rounds 2 and 3. NFL will do rounds 2 and 3. And then on Saturday, broadcast begins at noon, and they will do rounds 4 through 7. So that is happening tomorrow. I know that Toby is super excited about it. It's all he's been talking about all week, giving us the countdown. So we know when the draft is going to happen as if we didn't know already. So that leads into the APFL draft, which is our emulation dynasty league. That draft will start on Monday after the NFL concludes their draft this weekend. We will start ours on Monday at 6 o'clock in the morning, East Coast time. Each pick will be 6 hours long. The clock will pause between midnight and 6 o'clock in the morning, East Coast time. That does not mean that you can't make a pick during that time. You can, in fact, still make picks during that time. That just nobody will be penalized for the clock running out during that time. The draft is rookies only. If you did not know that already, I know we kind of went back and forth last season and a little bit at the beginning of this off season of whether it was going to be rookies and free agents. Somebody made a very good point and said, if this is an emulation league, we need to do as close to what the NFL does. So we decided to do this as a rookies only draft. I did have to go in and change that setting today, which I thought had been done already, but it wasn't. And I did get that setting changed. So number one, two teams that are on the clock, one from the AFC, one from the NFC. It's going to be Denver Mustangs on the AFC side, and why Toby's so excited about getting to the NFL draft and over to the APFL draft. His team, the Detroit Pride, have the number one pick over on the NFC side. Something Jason says, I didn't get a notification. I'm going to assume you said that you did get a notification that we were online. You might not have, since we've switched over to YouTube now. That might not be a thing anymore. But Kevin came online tonight on Discord and showed me a way where we might be able to do this like as a group broadcast where we're actually connecting the YouTube page back over to the Discord, which would be cool because I could still record here. For those of you that couldn't get on Facebook, I thought maybe we'd pick a few more of you up over on YouTube, because I get it. You have to have a Facebook account to watch, but you don't have to have a YouTube account to watch. But if we can get it over on Discord where all of the members are at, that would be super cool. I don't know what that does for viewership then. I don't know if you're watching it on Discord, if that counts for numbers over on this side. Definitely something I want to test, and I told him it's something I wanted to try out with him before we go live next week. I didn't think tonight was going to be a good night to try to do that when we had very little time to do it, and I know we're not going to have any time this weekend, Jay, while you're here to be able to do something like that. Something Sean Purcell and I were talking about earlier today. It was kind of an idea that I had about 5 minutes before he actually said it to me when I asked him, what should we talk about tonight? And because we're getting ready to go into the NFL draft, and we did this, I think maybe the very first show of the year. Hit the notification bell and YouTube should notify people. Do I have to hit the bell, or do you hit the bell on your side for it to notify? I did not know that. So you have to let me know that. Sorry, I should probably put that up there so people don't think I'm just randomly talking to myself or spitting out craziness. So we talked about notable free agents is what him and I were talking about today. So I thought I'd go through the list. A couple people have been signed since we did this the first time, which I think would have been in like show 1 or show 2 of this season. And I didn't list everybody who is a free agent on our teams in the APFL right now or that are free agents on the NFL side. I just picked the ones that I thought were probably most relevant, might still have a chance to land somewhere and play. There are a couple people out there like Julio Jones. I think he's at the end. I don't know that he's going to be anywhere. Still a free agent, though. So he's not one of the guys that made this list, but the people that did make the list, Lenny Fournette's still out there. Zeke is still out there. Jarvis Landry, Teddy Bridgewater, Melvin Gordon, Cole Beasley, Randall Cobb, AJ Green, maybe not so much, but I put him on the list anyways. Latavius Murray, Kareem Hunt, Carson Wentz, also maybe a big maybe. Jerick McKinnon, Rex Burkhead, Kenyon Drake, and T.Y. Hilton. T.Y. probably getting on the older end as well. But all of those that I just named are still on the free agency list in the NFL. I'm not signed with any teams. Maybe we'll see some action on draft day. I don't know if that's when the timing can be for them to still get signed. So maybe not. Maybe it'll be after. So as you all know, the Fanatically Real Redraft League this year, we have combined with Matt Kroll's Meathead League. And what we've decided to do is try to take the best of both worlds and combine them into this league this year. One of the things is that we're going to expand to 72 teams. So it's going to be 6 regions of 12. That is one big thing. And then we are also bringing in individual defensive players, IDPs, for probably the second or third time in FSA history. Usually as we do it, we don't do it as on as big of a scale as that we're getting ready to do this for the 2023 season. But before we get to what that looks like as far as roster makeups and what the points are going to look like, because we do have some changes to the offensive side of the scoring that we don't normally have in the redraft league. I wanted to bring those up and then also talk about the defensive side of this scoring. But before then, I want to make sure that I put this out there now, and I will make a bigger announcement about it probably on social media tomorrow, since you're all hearing it here now or later if you're watching this. I don't want anybody saying, oh, I didn't know when it was going to happen or whatever. These are the draft selection shows. Those are the shows where you find out what spot you're drafting from in the Fanatically Real Redraft draft. And then the other thing is the actual draft dates. These are going to be hard-coded this year. We are not going to shift off of these. These are not going to affect anybody's Labor Day weekends. This will be towards the end of the preseason. It will be Saturdays and Sundays. Everybody should be available. So the draft selection shows are going to be on the 19th and 20th of August. Again, those are going to be the shows that you learned what draft position you are picking from. That's the one where we do the virtual dice on the screen and everybody moves around and we roll the last dice and everybody moves. And then that's when you know you're going to pick from. So which regions and which times are still to be determined because we still have to build those regions based on where people are at in the world. So that's going to happen first. Once we've got that built, then we will get the times for each one of those regions out there, of course, moving from east to west each one of those days on Saturday and Sunday. And then we will do the same thing again the following weekend, which will be the 26th and 27th of August, which is when we're actually going to draft your redraft teams. Those will be Saturday and Sundays as well. There'll be a 3 to 4 hour gap in between each one of those drafts. That way I can monitor it to make sure everything that is going okay. And we'll do the same thing we did with the draft selection shows. We will move from East Coast to West Coast as we go throughout the day. So scoring, we did make a change in what we are used to seeing over the last couple of years in the Fanatically Real Redraft as far as one scoring category. We are going to take the passing touchdowns back to 4 on the Fanatically Real Redraft, which actually now matches the APFL as well. We've had it for 6 for a couple of years. We decided to bring that back a little bit. So 4 points per passing touchdown this year for the Fanatically Real Redraft. Ross on with us. Ross said he was going to try to poke his head in there. Hey, yo, what's up? So now IDPs, most of us are not used to playing with that, especially in the FSA. Some of you might do it in other leagues, but what we're looking at right now, and again, this is the initial laydown. There might be slight changes to this, probably not. But the points for the IDP side are going to be half a point for every assisted tackle, full point for every tackle, a point for every pass defended, 2 points for every sack, 2 points for every interception, 2 points for every fumble recovery, 2 points for every safety, 3 points for any blocked field goal, point after, or punt, and then 6 points for any touchdown scored by the defense. That's going to be on interception, fumble recovery, or on that block kick. Couple of things that we still have question marks for on the redraft side that we would like input on, and this is more for playoff purposes. What are we going to use to break the ties if we have 2 teams that are tied record at the end of the season inside the regions before first we seed them inside their region? So I think last year we said that we were going to do total points because that's why we play fantasy football is for points. We didn't care about the head-to-head record. You're going to play everybody inside your region one time. So your head-to-head record is either going to be 1-0 or 0-1. So do we want to stick with points or do we want to go with that head-to-head record? Let me know that. Also, we're trying to figure out how we are going to seed once we move away from or take the 6 regional champions and move over to the World Bowl at that point. How are we going to seed on that? Are we going to do record? Are we going to do power rankings? Last year we had it set for power rankings is how we were going to seed, but we also only had 4 teams last year. Why is that significant this year? Because we're going to take 6 teams and 2 of those teams are going to get buys. So what is the best way to make sure that the best 2 teams get the bye? Is it going to be record and then power ranking, or is it going to be power ranking, then record? How do we want to do it? Is it power ranking only? And then also trying to figure out what we're going to do with all of the other teams as we are moving through the playoffs. So I have some thoughts on that. Years past, we've done the rivalry bowls where we had the winner of a champion or winner of a region play the winner of another region in the rivalry bowl, and we had those set of what they were called and who they were going to be sponsored by. And the thoughts brewing in my head where I think what we might do is once we've made it to the Worlds and all of the other regions now have 10 teams left over or 11 teams because the 12th team is moved on to the World Championship. Those 11 teams what I'm thinking about doing is putting all of the second place teams on a 6-team ladder and let them play for the best second place team in all of FSA, and do the same thing for third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, all the way down to the 12th place team. So all of the lowest teams in each one of the regions will still play, and then we will have them play on a 6-team ladder all the way through the same time that we're doing the Worlds, and it would just be for the best second, best third, best fourth, all the way through. So that's something that's brewing in my head right now. I got to make sure that me saying out loud and putting it on the brackets and the math works out and all of that stuff. But I think we might do something like that this year. As far as which regions are going to play, I don't think that really, relates to a rivalry bowl anymore, because it's going to be everybody against everybody. Whatever we use for the matchups for the World Bowl, as far as whether it's going to be by record or if it's going to be by power ranking, is there's ties and stuff like that, we'll use the same rule set for whatever that is and stuff like that. That way everybody continues to play all the way through week 17. That way we don't lose anybody. Speaking of all of that redraft stuff, then that means redraft memberships are open. You can go in and pay for redraft if you would like. I still need email addresses for a lot of you. I'll continue to reach out to you on Discord. We had a couple people reach out this week saying, hey, I'm still getting notifications even though I paid. Sometimes what happens is I might send you an email, but you might register on LeagueSafe with a different email. So the original email that I put you in at continues to get that update asking for you to pay. That's why I ask everybody for what email address you want it to go to, but I realize that doesn't always relate to whenever you all sign up. So got that taken care of. The 2 teams that were still getting the notifications are no longer getting those anymore. Let me know if that applies to anybody else, but I think those are all cleared out. And then also let me know email address for those that still want to play. So I think we've got a total of 12 out of the 72 teams lined up and ready to go. And I know we'll go through that fairly quick right after the NFL draft is over with and people are actually starting to think about football again. So I did the pick your opponent the one year, and it wasn't a fan favorite, I don't think, by many people, especially for the person who ended up knowing that. I forget how it went. I think the number 1 seed ended up picking somebody they wouldn't normally have played and then beat them. I think, of course, they only have, the 3 or the 4. I don't remember how it went down, but they ended up picking it. But this is also when the schedule still had bye weeks on it and stuff like that. They ended up picking somebody whose team had a lot of byes on it. Probably shouldn't have won that game as easily as they did if they had had a full complement of players. So I don't think it was a fan favorite with the group here. But I know Jason loves the head-to-head thing, which works in the APFL because we use the NFL tiebreaker rules to break everything that's there. But I think if you ask the majority of the redraft people, they're going to probably say points because that's why we play fantasy. So again, if you're still looking to get into the redraft and I don't have you on the list, send me your email address. That way I can add you to the list and we can send out the reminders to you. Already mentioned it once, but because Jason's still out there right now, FSA Hall of Fame member Jason Hazlett will be in town tomorrow. So he'll be here through the weekend. Hopefully we'll be able to jump on and say hi to everybody together real quick with an impromptu show. As the last time we did one of those, I was actually in Xenia at his church when we did one. Maybe we'll just do one right here in the fan cave instead. Next broadcast will be on Wednesday again next week. Again, back on our regularly scheduled night at 8:30. So that will be on the 3rd of May. We will be right here. So make sure you're back here for 8:30. That will be our post-draft show. And we will already be a couple of days into the APFL draft. So we should have a lot to talk about next week. So make sure you join us. And until then, I would like to thank our sponsors, Mondo and the boys from the Recast, the official music of the FSA, and then Brandon Valenka from Nature Coast Apparel, the official apparel of Fantasy Sports Alliance. Thank you for watching this short 19-minute show tonight. If you liked it, make sure you go out, like, share, subscribe this on all of our social media outlets. Why they still exist before we get hacked again. You can find us at iPlayFSA. Have a great night. Remember, we are fanatically real, and we will see you next week. Have a great draft night tomorrow night. We'll see you soon.